We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus 5:1.
Christ. Yeah, that's right. I said Christ. I see Christ in you. You're my brother. I see Christ in you, bro.
I seem all my bros to be better than me. Truth be told, truth be told, this is what we must do to avoid envy. Truth be told, truth be told, and blacks and Hispanics are family. Truth be told, truth be told, I just pray you see Christ when you see me. Truth be told, truth be told.
Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. You are now tuning into Truth Be Told DC, broadcasting live. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear the truth according to the Bible. Hosted by IUIC DC. For music, clothing, and instruments of learning, visit originalroyalty.com and israelunite.org. Shalom.
Shalom, fam. Welcome back to Truth Be Told DC. I'm Officer Matthew to my left.
Officer Phinehas.
Officer Mendel.
To my right.
Officer Micah.
So today's topic is Negrostein, an American creation. Because you know you hear it all the time about the Negro was made in America. People are like, man, what is that? How did they do that? So we're going to get that. But before we get the invention of the Negro, let's get John 8:32.
This is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So the truth is that you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are not Negrostein, slaves, coons. You are indeed the children of Israel called to repentance in these last days. So we're going to cover the beginning of how we have descended into the depths of hell that we are today. So let's...
And why is it called Negrostein?
Right, because it's been made in the lab. We about to get the doctor. Get Dr. Willie Lynch and read the title, and then read the title of that chapter.
The Willie Lynch Letter and the Making of a Slave. Page 10. Let's make a slave.
Let's do what?
Let's make a slave.
Let's invent the Negro. Read.
The origin and development of a social being called the Negro.
Hold up, read that again. It said the what?
The origin and development of a social being called the Negro.
They said a social being. They didn't even say a person. That's just letting you know the white man already knew what he was inventing. Go ahead and read that.
Let us make a slave.
Let's do what?
Let us make a slave. What do we need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and her baby nigger boy.
Why is all that even necessary? But let's just keep reading.
Second, we will use the same basic principle that we use in breaking a horse.
Right, that's why they got the one book called The Negro Beast, because the way they broke their beast, the horse, that's how they used to break us. Read.
Combined with some more sustaining factors, we reduce them from the natural state in nature, whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their needs and the needs of their offspring. We break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency state so that we may be able to get from them useful production.
Wow. So go to Deuteronomy 28, read 15, and then verse 40, because he said they're going to break us from our independent state and make us dependent on them. Let's see if the Bible says that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48.
Read 15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
All right, so now let's get one of the curse, because it said we're going to make them dependent on us and make us slaves. So let's see what the Bible prophesies about that. Read that.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger,
For food,
and in thirst, and in nakedness,
clothes on our back.
and in want of all things.
So anything we got to go to them for. Anytime food, water, and shelter, raiment. Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
That's heavy right there. Read that part again where it says, well, we got that bracket of that. It says, read that.
We reduce them from their natural state in nature, whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their needs.
So we were dependent on the Most High God before we was brought over here as slaves. The Most High provided the chief things for us. Read.
And the needs of their offspring. We break that natural string of independence from them, and thereby create a dependency state.
There you go. Now we got to go to them in a want of all things. We are reading the prophecy. Now we're reading how that was fulfilled here in Willie Lynch, How to Make a Slave, or How to Make the Negro Today. That's what we're going into. So let's drop that. Let's go. Let's stay in that. Let's get page 12. And now we getting the origins of it. So it's going to be a lot of different books to show how we were created in those times that results to what we see today. Sagging the pants, all the foolishness. Read that.
Cardinal principles for making a Negro. For fear that our future generations may not understand the principles of breaking both horses and men, we laid down the art.
So he said, for fear, just in case our descendants forget how to keep these Negroes in check, let me lay down this blueprint for them. You want to say something on that, officer?
Yeah, I was going to say, he was almost like Henry Ford that made the Model T when he made the Negro.
That's what he did. He made the Model N.
Yeah, he did. Because you can see the production of the Negro today.
Right in the assembly line.
For if we are to sustain our basic economy, we must break both of the beasts together.
Damn.
The nigger and the horse. We understand.
Hey, but you see how they said to sustain our economy.
So who pumping the economy? Who spending the most money today?
Exactly.
Dog, come on, man.
For if we're to sustain our basic economy, we must break both of the beasts together, the nigger and the horse. We understand that short-range planning in economics results in periodic economic chaos. So that to avoid turmoil in the economy...
So he said, don't plan for the short term. To avoid this kind of turmoil, what they going to do?
It requires us to have breadth and depth in long range.
Man, give me Psalm 64:6. This man searched it out. He said, we don't want no short-term solution. We need to be thinking for hundreds and thousands of years. Read that. See what the Bible says about this man. Read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64 and verse 6. They search out iniquity.
They search out sin. The man of sin searches out sin. That's his nature. Read.
They accomplish a diligent search.
He does what?
They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
It's so deep that this was written hundreds of years ago and it's still in effect today. Keep reading on that. This is some deep thought, man.
It requires us to have breadth and depth in long range, comprehensive planning, articulating both skill and sharp perception.
Meaning they was on it. They didn't cut no corners when it came time to manufacture Negroes. They put all the high-end parts in it so you understand. Read.
We lay down the following principles for long-range, comprehensive economic planning. Number one.
So this is principle number one. Read.
Both horse and niggers are no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. Number two. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production.
Wow.
Number three. For orderly futures, special and particular attention must be paid to the female.
Must be paid to who?
The female.
Okay.
And the youngest offspring.
Damn. Read.
Number four. Both must be crossbred to produce a variety and division of labor.
They was like, you the brothers breeding dogs and all this other stuff. They was doing that to us back then. Okay, we need a short, strong man to lift this barrel. We need a tall brother to, that's how they was doing with it.
Hey, what year was that book written in?
Yeah, what year? Go back.
Because you got to think, I don't know when it was written, but I figure it's at least 100 years old.
Oh, it's way more than that.
So you figured that the Negro you see today on the corner with his pants hanging down and with rolling a spliff and mumbling rap music as he walked down the street, that was created over 100 years ago.
Yeah, well
Willie
over
Lynch.
that.
That's something, man.
Number 5, both must be taught to respond to a peculiar new language.
Right, so now the new language now is mumble rap. That coonery at its finest. 1712 when this thing was written. So Willie Lynch sat back in his chair and in the year 1712 made a creation, a social being that we see the results today. Still driving the economy and totally destroyed. Read.
Number 6, psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both.
So the containment, what? They put the caps on our minds with the titles they gave us. That's the psychological. You're a Negro. You're this. You're that. So psychologically, we ain't going to never go nowhere. So while I'm talking, somebody pull up Fleas in the Lid or Fleas in the Jar video. But
another thing, remember when we were reading about how they broke the black woman, they said it has to be long-term. They said
Right.
we was like a well-oiled machine, like it was autonomous.
Right. We
so they, no labor, no nothing.
No nothing. That residual income. Read that.
We hold the above 6 cardinals as truths to be self-evident based upon the following discourse concerning the economics of breaking and tying the horse and nigger together.
Damn. Read.
All inclusives of the 6 principles laid down above.
Read that next thing, though.
Neither principles alone will suffice for good economics.
So he said, you got to have all 6 principles. He said, in other words, you got to eat the whole loaf. You can't leave out principle number 1. If you're trying to make this fine-tuned Negro machine, you got to do all 6 principles. Read.
Training fleas requires
all principles.
Hold that. That's what we want, but we're going to get that. Read that.
All principles must be employed for the orderly good of the nation.
Did you see that? He said all these principles got to be employed for the orderly good of our nation. Read number 6, and then we're going to play that video.
Psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both.
So watch this. You're going to see some deep thought. Pull that video up. Watch this, because this is where we at now. Fleas in a jar.
Jar with a lid. The fleas are placed inside the jar, and the lid is then sealed. They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behavior is now set for the rest of their lives. And, when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
That's the Negro in the jar. That's why this truth, that's why they don't want you pushing the truth. This truth smashes the jar. You want to say something on that, officer? That thing right there. So when you hear the bishop say and Deacon Yah say the Negroes been created in America, understand that they saying that in the spirit. And it's a documented historical fact. Because there'll always be a bunch of naysayers jumping out there when they say that. We reading the history and the creation. That's why scoffers, just keep your mouth shut, man. Keep reading on that. Yeah, read that.
Keep the body and take the mind.
Say, keep that strong body. That's why I say we need them strong back, weak minds. Let's get big, burly brothers. Read that.
In other words, break the will to resist. Now, the breaking process is the same for the horse and the nigger.
Damn.
Only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, you must keep your eye focused on the female.
On what?
You must keep your eye focused on the female.
That same spirit was the one that pulled up on Eve in Genesis. Read.
And the offspring of the horse and the nigger.
Right. So that's what we seen them fleas in the lid on the TV. That's what that's talking about. You get to her, she gonna produce more of them that same cap, that mental cap. Step number 6. She just gonna generate the same limited thinking people. Read.
A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking.
Right, so he said, don't even worry about them people. Don't worry about the old generation. We got to get to that woman and them young folk. Read.
But concentrate on future generations.
Right, that's why you see all this dumb rap music. Who's it geared toward? They not gearing it toward the brothers in their 30s and 40s and all that. They got that mumble rap for the brothers, 25 and under? They not even talk. They literally like Frankenstein. How's that rap? Read.
Therefore, if you break the female,
if you do what?
If you break the female, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you.
Hey, you see what that's saying? It's like when it says if you break the female, meaning if you destroy the mind of the sisters, they're going to destroy her children's mind. That's why today when you look, you got men effeminate, you got sisters masculated. It's a cycle. It's a constant cycle.
But you know, the sisters, they'll hear this truth. They'll hear what the bishop is saying about their role, and they think it's some weak, dumb role. And the white man is telling you, he said, don't worry about the men. We got to get to the woman, letting you know that her role and her order is the most powerful thing that keeps a nation together. But our sisters today don't understand that.
Because they understand that she nurtures and the children.
That's the backbone of the nation. But
they understand that.
Right. I says, I got to stay at home, raise the kids, do all that. The white man said, you know what, why didn't he say get to the brothers? Because he understands what the backbone of the nation is.
For her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process.
You see that? So her normal female protective tendencies will be lost. She's going to be ahead of the man, ahead of the house. Let's go to Jeremiah 31. Let's get that Jeremiah 31 to 22. So y'all sisters, y'all don't understand how important your role is. You think, well, I got to be guiding the house and teaching the kids and doing all that. Your enemy understands how critical your role was. That's why he said, don't worry about the generation. Don't worry about the men. You need to get on that woman's mind. Destroy her. She going to destroy everything.
Yeah, because the sister's role is very important.
Very important.
In building the nation. A lot of times, sisters be like, I want to put my brick in too. You can put your brick in by grooming your children to be Israelites.
Raising up the
law,
Avengers.
statutes, commandments. To observe and to be about building the nation. That's how you put in a heavy brick.
Why you think they pulled up on the sister in 2 Maccabees chapter 7? Why they didn't grab a father with a 7? Because they said, we got to get this woman and her kids. They wanted to break her because they already understood that thing. But our sisters read that, have no idea the depths that this man is thinking. But it's coming out, though, all praise to the Most High. So let's get that.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter?
When you backsliding or moonwalking, you going backwards to the flow. If you building a nation, you got to go this way. Our sisters have been programmed to move that way. That's why the nation ain't built.
Hey, no, they've been programmed to move Esau's way.
Right, but I'm saying, but that's in the opposite way of what God intended.
Yeah, pull up a video. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that clip. I think it's from the Heartbeats or something. Where he's like, you ain't shit.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna never be. That's
right.
Training your children at a cap.
But where did he get that from? He got that from his mother. Yep. And his father, even if he picked it up from his father got that from his mother. What we read here in the Willie Lynch letters. We got the video?
Yeah, we're going to get a video breaking down basically the continuation of the Willie Lynch 21st century. We're going to show y'all. Go ahead and get that.
Well, one of the things they told me was that he was at the house one night, and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about? And I said, I had pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, you know? And he started to laugh. He said, you're an idiot. And I said, why am I an idiot? He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded Women's Lib, you know? And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He said, there were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before women's lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think. It breaks up their family. The kids start looking at the state.
Damn, he brought out some heavy stuff. He said the women's lib wasn't about giving women the right to vote. One, they wanted to get them to go to work because they wasn't making tax dollars off half the population. And two, you can get them in them brainwashing camps at an early age. That was funded by the Rockefellers. That's deep thinking. Because that came out about in the Industrial Revolution. When all that happened, they said, we need more people to fill these factories. So that's when they came out with the suffrage movement.
And remember, another deep thinking is this current situation going on
with
the corona. Like, they've been planning on reducing the population for years.
And getting everybody on that universal basic income. Socialism. Yep. That's another form of destroying the mind. That's the next level because they already did it with the welfare. They said, you know what? We got to get the whole society now. Understand this man is when it says he's the border of wickedness, understand that the man of sin is being revealed today. Where we at?
Isaiah 3.
Yeah, let's get that in Isaiah 3.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
As for my people.
So as for the Israelites, God's chosen people.
Children are their oppressors.
Uh-huh.
And women rule over them.
That's letting you know. We read that in Willie Lynch. The women are ruling over these kids and those young children oppress. You don't see 50 and 60-year-old men doing drive-bys. It's your teenagers, your early 20s. They oppress the community. Nobody getting knocked upside their head or their window broken out by a brother in his 50s and 60s. Right, unless he somehow a crackhead from the 80s that survived this long. Read.
O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err.
So the woman that compassed the man in Jeremiah 31 and 22 is leading the nation, and it says they causing us to err. Read.
And destroy the way of thy paths.
When you walking down the path is in front of you, meaning talking about the future. That offspring, that whole path is destroyed. That whole path, as a result, look at our community today from the destroyed path of what we read in the letters of Willie Lynch. Let's go to Isaiah 9 and 16.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 9 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
For the leaders of this people cause them to err.
And that's the women, read.
And they that are led of them are destroyed.
How are we destroyed? Number one in the prison population. Heart attack, stroke, diabetes. At the bottom of every economic ladder. Read.
Therefore the Lord shall have no joy in their young men.
The Lord ain't got no joy in our young men today. Look at the young men today, what they're doing. They barely even communicate in an audible tone. You don't even know what they're saying now. Read.
Neither shall have mercy on their fatherless and widows. For everyone is an hypocrite.
Because we was made to be the examples, the walking law. Now when we all out in sin, we hypocrites. We God's chosen people. And we living like beasts out here. Read.
And an evildoer.
Uh-huh.
And every mouth speaketh folly.
And our people, it's nothing but foolishness coming out of the mouths of our people. Twerk this, Insta chat, all this stuff that we doing, Twitter and all this. It's just foolish talk on there. Read.
For all this, his anger is not turned away.
Right.
But his hand is stretched out still.
Right. Meaning what? His mercy. But at the end of the day, he's got to bring the judgment for the wickedness. But he's still a merciful God. We just got to stop sinning. So where we at? Let's go to Hosea 4 and 6. Let's go to Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. Because it's a lot to cover the history so we can understand how we was created in this fashion so we can break the mold through the Most High in Christ.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
So God's people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The laws of God is the knowledge. Read.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
So he's no longer a hedge. He's no longer over us. We've been rejected. Now we've been taken in by Esau. That's the one that was protecting and providing for us now. As we read here in the Willie Lynch letters. Read.
I will also reject thee.
I will do what?
I will also reject thee.
That's why we got to serve our enemies in the one of all things. That's being rejected. Read.
That thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children.
Read. Let's go to When I Was a Slave. Page 29. I think that might be Miss Millie. Is that it? Page 29. No. The Making of a Slave. Read the title for the people. Or When I Was a Slave.
When I Was a Slave, Memoirs from a Slave Narrative Collection.
So page 29, who was that? Who's up at the top?
Anthony Dawson.
Oh, so this is Anthony Dawson. This is a slave. I think he was 105 years old when this interview was conducted. Read page 29. Let's see what it says, because the laws, that's our knowledge. The Most High was supposed to be our hedge and protector. Read that.
The niggers kept talking about being free, but they wasn't free then, and they ain't now.
Right. We ain't free now. This is right after the so-called Civil War. Read.
Putting them free, just like putting goat hair on a sheep. When it rained, the goat come a-running and get into shelter.
The goat got enough sense to get in the shelter. Read.
Because his hair won't shed the rain and he get cold. But the sheep ain't got sense enough to get in the shelter.
Our shelter is supposed to be the Most High. That's supposed to, when you read Psalms 91, that's supposed to be our shelter, these laws, statutes, and commandments. Because remember, we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. See what this man is saying. Read.
But just stand out and let it rain on him all day. But the good Lord fixed the sheep up with a woolly jacket that turned the water off. And he don't get cold. So he don't have to. So he don't to have no brains.
So he don't what?
He don't have to have no brains.
So the sheep ain't got no brains. That's us. Our brains are supposed to be here. And when you read Psalms 3, Proverbs 3 and 5. But when we out here doing our own thing, we dumb as hell, because it says in Deuteronomy that this is your wisdom in the sight of the nations. When we put this aside, we are a dumb, brainless people. That's what this slave is saying. Read that again.
But the good Lord fixed the sheep up with a woolly jacket that turned the water off.
Right.
And he don't get cold. So he don't have to have no brains.
He ain't got enough sense to get out the rain. He out there just getting rained on. Read.
The nigger during slavery was like the sheep.
The what?
The nigger during slavery was like the sheep.
Standing all out in the rain. In other words, standing all out in the sun, no protection. Read.
He couldn't take care of himself. But his master looked out for him.
Right. That was a curse. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. This is a real book. Read.
And he didn't have to use his brains.
And he didn't what?
He didn't have to use his brains.
Because Willie Lynch took him when he made us in 1712. Read.
The master's protection was like the woolly coat. But the emancipation come and take off the woolly coat and leave the nigger with no protection, and he can't take care of himself either.
Right. So we was all the way, when we was quote unquote free, we was all the way destroyed. We couldn't even take care of ourselves even up till today. We still can't do that. That's why we got to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments to get out of that slave coon mentality. Get Deuteronomy 28 and 64. Because this is one thing that keeps us in the slave coon mentality is these religions, especially Christianity. Now, we going to see that like, man, Christianity, you know, I'm a Baptist, I'm this. We going to see where all that started.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there.
And where?
And there.
Okay.
Thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So let's see if that happened. Let's go back to the memoirs. When I was a slave, give me page 27. Let's see. Serving other gods, wood and stone. Christianity and Islam, but we focusing on Christianity. Read that.
Old master was a fine Christian.
This man raping, beating your backside, stole a whole country. We out there after that, after coming out of that factory of Willie Lynch, we say he was a fine Christian.
But he liked his juleps anyways. He let us niggers have preachings and prayers and would give us a parole to go 10 or 15 miles to a camp meeting and stay 2 or 3 days with nobody but Uncle John to stand for us. Mostly we had white preachers.
Mostly we had what?
White preachers.
I'm a Baptist. That was started by the so-called white man, and we know that because these is memoirs from a slave. Read.
But when we had a black preacher, that was heaven.
Right, so just letting you know. And he was oversaw by the white man. Flip to 32. Flip to page 32. So we got to pull out the history on that, on all these slave coon religions. Read that. All of them.
Page 32. Millie Evans. We had the best mistress and master in the world. And they was Christian folks. And they taught us to be Christian like too. Every Sunday morning, Old master would have all us niggers to the house while he would sing and pray and read the Bible to us all.
He don't have nothing to do with that Bible. Understand that. Read.
Old master taught us not to be bad.
He gonna teach you not to be bad, but everything he do is evil. Read.
He taught us to be good. He told us to never steal.
Even though he took the whole country and stole us, read.
Nor to tell false tales.
Everything he says is a lie because he out there teaching the Bible that Christ is white. That's a false tale. Read.
And not to do anything that was bad. He said, you will reap what you sow.
Now, that's true when you read Revelations 13, 9, and 10. Understand the reaping is about to be. Read.
That you sow it single and reap double. When I got grown, I went the Baptist way.
She did what?
I went the Baptist way.
So letting you know, they said they had white preachers. So she went the Baptist way. Read.
God called my pa to preach. And old master let him preach.
Old master did what?
Let him preach.
Letting you know that's a slave religion. Read.
In the kitchen and in the backyard under the trees.
There you go.
On preaching day, old master took his whole family and all the slaves to church with him.
Hey, I want to put this.
Yeah, put that up for the people.
Founders up, and then read. Hold that thing. Get Psalms 96 and 5. Psalms 96 and 5, and put that little clip up. The founders of all of the Christian religions. Zoom on in.
John Smith.
Zoom on in so the people can see.
Zoom in. There we go.
Yeah, Christianity. Here we go.
All of them devils.
Read Psalms first. Read Psalms.
The book of Psalms, chapter 96 and verse 5. For all the gods of the nations,
so all these other nations outside of Israel,
are idols.
Are idols. So any religion that they create is idolatry. So Christianity is idolatry. It's a combination of their Greek gods, Roman gods, and a combination of what we did, Judaism, mixed. It's a combination. Yeah, we ain't worried about that. Hey, but see that? All of your different Baptists, Mormons, Adventists, Jehovah's Witnesses, Pentecostals, all created by Edomites.
Right. So you mean the Bible
right
what
there?
right?
Hey, even Islam. That's Esau.
That's what I'm saying. Esau right there created Islam.
The white man created that thing too.
Right. We ain't worried about that though. We dealing with good old Christians. Scroll back up so they can see they slave masters and their religions.
There you go.
And it's funny because a lot of Benjamin who from the islands, a lot of them grew up Seventh-day Adventists, and they think they're better than a lot of Jews in America. We Seventh-day Adventists, we keep the Sabbath day, but breaking every other law.
Ellen G. White. And then you got to look at the found. What was all you Negroes doing them time periods when they was created? In slavery.
Which means it wasn't really created for you. They just had you practice to keep you dormant.
That was Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch said, like, come out with all these doctrines so we can go ahead and keep them in the state that they in.
Yep.
So I want to make a point too that when people see us talking about Christianity, we not talking about the Bible. We talking about the religion of Christianity, which is not in the Bible. And a lot of people that's in the church, they think because a pastor holding the Bible and they in Christianity that they following the Bible. You not following the Bible. That's the point that we're trying to make here.
Right. Because in Christianity, you don't keep any laws.
Right, but we read the origin of all that nonsense. The slave master was teaching all that. Understand, you defending slavery when you out there upholding your Christian religion. So let's go ahead. Let's get Deuteronomy 28. Let's get the miseducation of the Negro, page 4. So we gotta take some time. This segment right here is a little long, so we can get deep history on this.
The miseducation of the Negro, page 4. In schools of theology, Negroes are taught the interpretation of the Bible.
They taught what?
The interpretation of the Bible.
The slave man's way of looking at the Bible.
Exactly. The interpretation. And the thing is, that interpretation has been going on for generation to generation to generation. That's why your pastor today would say the laws are done away with, when clearly when you read in the New Testament and in the Old, it says that the laws are over a man as long as he lives. Remember, that's in Romans 7 and 1.
Look, it ain't even about that. It's about keeping our people subjected under slavery. That's what it's all about. Read that.
The Negroes are taught the interpretation of the Bible worked out by those.
Well, hold on. What? Worked out by what?
Worked out by those who have justified segregation.
The white man. He's letting you know the same people teach you the Bible are those justifying the segregation and slavery, so forth and so on. Read.
And winked at the economic debasement of the Negro.
Meaning what? What did them white pastors and them theologians do when you were still sharecropping? Not a damn thing. Read.
Sometimes almost to the point of starvation.
Meaning you coming up in their congregation, their theology school, starving. They not helping you out at all. Read.
Deriving their sense of right from this teaching. Graduates of such schools have no message to grip the people.
Meaning what? How you in that time, you going up through them foolish schools, how you going to be able to help the people? How you going to be able to help your brother and sister with a slave master's doctrine? It's all oppression. Read.
Whom they have been ill-trained to serve. Most of such miseducated ministers therefore preach to benches, while illiterate Negro preachers do the best they can in supplying the spiritual needs of the masses.
That's where you get all the hooting and hollering and shouting coming from, because they couldn't read. So you see that pass down with them pastors today. They just sit out there, run around the church and do all that hooting and hollering, because the Bible is to them like a book that's closed. So they spiritually illiterate today. So let's go ahead and get Leviticus 26, 36, and 37, because we might be wondering, well, damn, how did they round up so many of us? How could they do these things? Let's see what the Bible says.
Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 36. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies, and the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them.
Right, we were scared to death. The Lord took that might. When you read about Maccabees, that warrior spirit, the Lord took that spirit off of us. We running from a leaf. If you see 5 Negroes running, it's a crowd. They run by a crowd of black people. Everybody running. For no reason. Read.
And the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee, as fleeing from a sword. And they shall fall when none pursueth. And they shall fall upon one another.
Right. It'll look like a Chinese fire drill. Brothers just running every which way. They so scared they running into each other, running each other over. That's what that's saying. Read.
As it were before a sword. When none pursueth.
When what?
When none pursueth. And ye shall have no power to stand before your enemies.
All right, let's go back to when I was a slave. Read page 20. Let's see if that happened. If the slaves accounted for this type of this curse right here. That's page 28. Page 28. Let me see it right there.
I wasn't at the quarters much as a boy. I was at the big house with my mammy. And I had to swing the fly brush over my old mistress when she was sewing or eating or taking her nap. Sometimes I would keep the flies off an old master.
So sometimes he had to keep the fly off the white man, the master of the plantation. Read.
And when I would get tired and let the brush slap his neck, he would kick at me and cuss me.
Right, he would kick at him and cuss him, but read.
But he never did reach me.
Right, like we read, it said you gonna be running and scared. Read.
He had a way of keeping us little niggers scared to death.
He had a way of what?
Of keeping us little niggers scared to death. And never hurting nobody.
He ain't never do nothing but our people was scared. We reading that here in Leviticus 26, 36, and 37. So what you talking about the Bible ain't a real book? That's it.
Yeah, and one of the things that Willie Lynch perfected, I think that came out of that, was our people love foolishness. And you just see it all different kinds of ways where our people just love foolishness. They hate information. They hate knowledge. Like, it's somewhat reverse of when you seen Kunta Kinte getting beat down when he had to accept that slave name. He didn't want to. Now we having to try to beat people into accepting the fact that they Israelites, because they done got so indoctrinated in foolishness that they don't want to change. So let's start off. Let's go with Proverbs 17 and 10.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 17 and verse 10. A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool.
So you see that? That's heavy. So it's saying correction. So you could be a wise man and get corrected. You'll accept the correction more than what did it say? Read that last precept again, because that's a lot right there.
A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool.
You see that 100 lashes? That's just showing you how hard it is to get the foolishness out of our people right there. That's some heavy stuff right there. Go to Ecclesiastes, because we're supposed to be running the world. And the images that you see of our people, man, you know, when you really understand who you are, it's sad to witness. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 10:6.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 6. Folly is set in great dignity.
So folly. So anything foolish, like we stand in line for tennis shoes, mumble rap, what else? Atlanta Housewives, all that's held in high, because somebody will sit down and watch a show like that, and they won't want to watch one video that's edifying or even the financial, nothing, how to learn how to do your finances or anything.
No sort of beneficial information. None.
Everything, 100% foolishness. Go ahead. The Negro don't have no books. The only book he got is, what, King Magazine or something.
And that's filled with pictures. And so Negroes ain't reading that.
Read that from the top.
Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place.
The rich talking about God's word, his Bible. That's in a low place. That's in the back window of a car. They pull it out once a week to read one scripture out of it. Go ahead down to verse 7. Read verse 7.
I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
That's us, because what? We supposed to be ruling. We the greatest people to ever walk on the planet. So let's go ahead. What we going to get? The video. We're going to show you how the other nations view us so you can understand how we get looked at. Go ahead and get that.
Just want to highlight something that transpired today in a conversation with one of the assistant managers to one of the Chinese wholesale outlet. Excuse me. Talking to one of the gentlemen, he quit his job today. A very popular Chinese food store here now. So he said to me, he said he was sick and tired of the way the Chinese behaves and the way they talk to them. And he said today, having a conversation, one of the young Chinese managers, the Chinese manager said to him that black people are the stupidest set of people that's ever walked the face of the earth. The Chinese said to him that there's no other race in the world more stupider than black people, and that's why black people is to the bottom of every economic ladder in the world, and they will never rise up. He told him, he said, you know, this is a black country. And in this black country, a Chinese or any other ethnicity, any other race of people, whether it's Indian, Chinese, Arabs, and he went on, I don't want to quote radio to make a mistake, saying that they can come into a black country and they can set up a business next to a black person in a black country, and with the help of the black people, they will put the black man out of business in a matter of weeks. Let me say that again. He said that a Chinese or any other ethnicity can come into a black community or a black country, set up a business next to a black person in a black country, and in a matter of weeks, with the help of black people, they can shut black people out of business. Now, when he highlighted the fact that black people are stupid, I was in awe. But when he explained it to me, I must agree.
That's heavy right there. And he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. We've seen it many times. We don't know how to support each other. And you can't go to China and open up a carry-out. What they got? Soul food? Chinese got soul food restaurants, right? Can you imagine going to China, you're going to open up a Chinese restaurant as a black man? What's going to happen? You're not going to have one customer, but yet the Chinese person can come into a neighborhood. They treat you like trash. They got a piece of plexiglass and all that. The Arabs, they do the same thing and sell you anything, and then we won't even support our own. So we got to learn how to do that. But as ugly as the Chinese people are, for them to sit there and say we the dumbest people, When we're the greatest people on the earth, that's just showing you how destroyed we are now. Go ahead.
Because, remember the curses said that we will have chains on us, on our yokes of iron upon us until we were destroyed, until our minds were destroyed. So when you fast forward up today, even when you do have people amongst us that try to rise up, they're betrayed by our own people all the time. They infiltrate into these different organizations. It's always by our own people.
Or sometimes you get married to a sister and the enemy be in the house. Or the brother be holding the sister back.
Yeah, I wanted to say this. They definitely support each other. They'll buy Chinese. That's how they do. And y'all should do the same. We got brothers and sisters in the body. They sell deodorant, hair products, shirts. You got original royalty. You should try to shop and get your stuff there as much as you can to support your own. All right, so let's go. Let's get the next scripture. Let's go back to Proverbs 17. Let's hit verse 12.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 17 and verse 12. Let a bear robbed of her whelps meet a man, rather than a fool in his folly.
You see that? A man would rather meet a bear that just got robbed of her children than a fool in his folly. That's heavy right there.
Do you know a bear that got robbed of her children will put you to death? That thing is crazy.
Hey, look, let's jump down to verse 21. I'm going to try to go through these real quick.
Verse 21. He that begetteth a fool doeth it to his sorrow, and the father of a fool hath no joy.
You see that? A father of a fool ain't going to have no joy because all types of dumb stuff going to be jumping off all the time. It's going, and that's going to bring misery to the parent. That's why we got to come out of foolishness, people. We got to do that. Let's go to Sirach. Let's see what Sirach say about that. Go ahead and get that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse 13. The knowledge of a wise man shall abound like a flood, and his counsel is like a pure fountain of life.
That's what we should all try to be around. Like, we're under the bishop, and we got captains, officers, deacons, all of that. Those are the brothers that you want to try to be around on a consistent basis. Read.
The inner parts of a fool are like a broken vessel, and he will hold no knowledge as long as he liveth.
You see that? A fool can't hold no knowledge. So if you got a foolish mind, you got to come out of that. Read.
If a skillful man hear a wise word, he will commend it.
Man, thank you, brother, for giving me that. I appreciate that. That was some wisdom there. That's some knowledge right there I could use. Read.
And add unto it.
And he's going to add to it.
But as soon as one of no understanding heareth it, it displeaseth him, and he casteth it behind his back.
You seen that before? Yeah, you see it all the time. Oh, there y'all go with that Bible again, man. Get out of here, man. I don't want to hear that.
Hey, but even within the congregation, you get wise counsel. Oh, hell no. I don't want to hear that. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a grown man. I do what I want. I'm a grown woman. Yeah.
Go ahead and read.
The talking of a fool is like a burden in the way.
So that's like you driving down the road and a tree fall in the middle of the road. That's a fool right there. That's like a burden in your way. Read.
But grace shall be found in the lips of the wise.
Go ahead.
They inquire at the mouth of the wise man in the congregation, and they shall ponder his words in their heart. As is a house that is destroyed, so is wisdom to a fool.
You see that? So this is so can you dwell in a house that's tore down? That's telling you wisdom can't dwell there. Read.
And the knowledge of the unwise is as talk without sense.
You see that? I've been around foolish people. You hear them talking like the video game Grand Theft Auto, when you just walking through the street and you hear random people on there. You ever lissn to that? And it's just a whole bunch of gibberish and nonsense. That's the Willie Lynch Negro right there.
Like the Sims.
Yeah, like the Sims.
Bro, I got a scripture for you, bro. Here you go right here. Got it real quick. Get Ecclesiastes 7 and 5. This is for you, officer. This is for you, officer. Hey, get that real quick, bro.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 5. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise.
So it's better to hear the correction of the wise man. Wise meaning he understands the scriptures, the law, statutes, commandments. Read.
Than for a man to hear the song of fools.
That's show your boys and be just rapping down the street.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what happened to rap, man.
They need to put the C is silent in front of it.
Yeah, that thing right there, man. They need to just stop it, man. Jump back to verse 21 tonight. Sirach 21, read 19.
The book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse 19. Doctrine unto fools is as fetters on the feet.
You hear that? So doctrine, knowledge, talking about the scriptures to fool is like putting shackles on his feet. Read.
And like manacles on the right hand.
You see that? So it's like he in bondage. And I've been around people like that. When you start bringing out some information, they don't want to hear. They get quiet. They start going away and stuff like that.
You get that 1,000-yard stare. They get that glazed over look.
Yeah.
He like, oh, this nigga trying to
educate me. I don't need that.
It's like you insult them when you bring stuff out.
Yeah, you do. You insult their intelligence.
You know how hard Willie Lynch should work to keep me this dumb?
You put a lot of work into me. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians. Because you got, now, when we talking about being foolish, we ain't just talking about somebody you got people here that's wise in the world. But let's see what the scriptures say about that.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 18. For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness.
You see that? So when we coming out with the scriptures, a lot of people think it's foolish. They all around the Bible. That's just a book. That's a man-made book and all this other stuff. Read.
But unto us which are saved, it is the power of God.
You see that? We understand that that's where our power come from, right here. Read.
For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise.
So that's talking about the wise in the world, because you got people they foolish too, but they wise in the world. They know different things. They might, science and all that. They might know some mysteries, things going on in the Illuminati or some Freemasons and all. You always run into them, like the Freemasons and them other.
It's about angles, bro.
Yeah, all that stuff, all the numbers and all that. Go ahead.
For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise and will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent.
Because it's not based in the scriptures. Read.
Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world?
All those that swear they smart. Read.
Hath not God made foolish the wisdom of this world?
That's what the Bible do. When you come into the truth, you realize that everything that you know is foolishness. That's what you learn. Read.
For after that, in the wisdom of God, the world by wisdom knew not God.
So all those books, deep studies and all that, you don't know God if you're not in the Bible. Read.
It pleased God by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe.
You see that? So that's how we're gonna get down here. We gotta get here and put this word out there so our people can repent and we can come out of that Willie Lynch mindset. So and guess what else happened to the Negro after Willie Lynch? After he finished putting the whip on his back, they became lazy, and we got to get out here and put in his work. Let's read about that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 6.
Because the Most High gives us ways to make it.
Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise.
You see that? So if we watch the ant, the Bible's saying we're going to be wise. Watch, read.
Which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest.
So they do what? They get things while you can get it. I know my mom would always say, you make hay while the sun shines. That's an old saying she would say to us growing up. Read.
How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard?
Because you got some brothers that are lay in the bed. They in the bed till what? 12, 1 o'clock? Sleep. Mm-hmm. Read.
When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep?
We're going to find out right now. Roll the video. Let's find out when they're going to rise out of their sleep. Go ahead and roll the video.
Man, every Sunday evening. Look at this trash. Run it over. I'm about tired of this here. I'm sick and tired of it.
Grandma, you ain't gonna do nothing.
Watch me. I got some news for you. Head turning me. I worked all day. Come home, cook dinner. And this stuff got to live. Be laying up in the bed. My legs hurt. My bottom of my feet is burning like pepper. And I got to deal with him. I'm sick and tired of it. Oh, Jesus, put me low. Oh, Jesus. I'm tired of him. came back and sleeping all day. He don't do nothing. He don't do nothing. Then he gonna live all day long and sleep all day. And I gotta come home. I gotta dump the trash. I gotta wash his clothes. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this here. Sick of that. They're gonna feel like a big chicken. Eat up all the chicken and stuff like that. I'm tired. Let me speak. Now tell me, trash.
Hey, look, Grandma went to work, man. She got that slugging out the bed.
Grandma worked hard. You saw the size of that house? Grandma did all that hard work, and this nigga laid up. I mean, this brother laid up in the bed.
She walked like a mile complaining. I'm tired. My back
You know,
hurt.
you hear that somebody gonna get that hind pie's beat.
Look, she said the nigga ate all the chitlins.
That was the last straw.
Yeah, that was the last straw right there. Oh, man. I'm telling you, man. Go ahead. Let's go back to Proverbs 6. Let's go to, where we at?
Verse 10. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep.
You see that? That's what we saw. Read.
So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man.
You see that? That's where that poverty come in. That's why Negroes can't have nothing. We don't want to. When you look at the other nations, like when you look at Moab, when you look at Ammon, they get up and they putting in work. They ain't laying around in the bed sucking on chitlins. Oh, boy. Grandma got it today, man. Let's go to, where we at? Proverbs 26. Let's get that right there.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 26 and verse 13. The slothful man saith, there is a lion in the way.
They make excuses. There's a lion in the way. I can't go out and work. What they say? Oh, I ain't got no transportation.
It was a
Something
deer,
like
bro.
that.
But he got 2 feet.
But he got $200 Nikes on his feet, though. Go ahead.
There's a lion in the way. A lion is in the streets. As the door turneth upon his hinges, so doth the slothful man upon his bed.
You see that? That's
rolling around in the bed.
Hey, look. When Grandma dumped the trash, he just rolled over. Just like that. My man just rolled over on the trash, made a pillow out of it. Come on, man. Yeah, go ahead, man. Keep reading.
The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom. It grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth.
I see that, man. I'm telling you, man. Read.
The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason.
You see that? So they telling you how wise a sluggard is. Like, they come with all kinds of ways to get out of work. Any kind of way they can. But my man, but Grandma was really mad because he ate up the last bit of the chitlins, though. That's what it was, man.
She said her feet was hurting.
Hey, what's crazy? You're right about that, because Jake will use cognitive thought to find a way not to have to work, not to have an honest job. But they applied half that effort to something legal or positive, they could get along easy.
Oh, man, that thing is wild, man. I'm telling you, man. Proverbs 13 and 4.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 4. The soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing.
You see that? I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. Man, I'm going to get me a new Benz. He laid up in the bed. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. He don't have nothing. That's what he got. Nothing. Read.
Cars.com.
He'll be sitting around with his boys talking like, yeah, we going to do this.
Smoking
we
weed.
Have this. Yeah, smoking weed. we going to do this. we going to have this. we going to have cars. we going to do this. But ain't doing no job applications.
But you know what he going to be doing? He going to be posing on Instagram with these photos with all decked out and don't have 2 Monopoly dollar bills to rub together.
Yeah, man. That's how our people do. They'll act like they got money, have all this jewelry on and everything else, and don't have nothing in the bank. Just fronting. Read that from the top.
The soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing.
Read.
But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat.
You see that? So if you diligent, you out here putting in your works, that's how you going to get something. You don't get nothing laying in the bed, man. Let's go to, where we at? Yeah, Grandma stole the show today, man. Sirach 22. Yeah, Grandma had to walk like 3 miles just to get down to the bedroom.
She wasn't lazy.
Nah,
and she
wasn't
beat
lazy.
his
She put
black
in work. She
ass
was like,
right
"I'm
in
gonna
that
get this
bed.
Joker, man. Man, she put in work just to get down there.
The book of Sirach, chapter 22 and verse 1. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone, and everyone will hiss him out of disgrace.
Keep
to
reading.
his disgrace. A slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill.
A pile of crap. To be kind, read.
Every man that takes it up will shake his hand.
Meaning that if you get some of it on your hand, you're going to shake it off to try to go wash it off and all that.
Let's translate that. In other words, if you hire one of these brothers in your business, you're going to have to immediately fire him. That's what that's going into. He's of no value. Because even a pile of horse mess has value and fertilizing some soil. A lazy Negro is literally nothing you can do with it.
Yeah, that's right. Horse mess does have value, not a lazy Negro, though. Go to Sirach 4 and 22.
The book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 22. Accept no person against thy soul.
I think that's the wrong scripture. She got the wrong one down.
20.
Let me see. That's the wrong one. Let's skip that. Let's go down to Hosea. Let's get to Hosea. Oh, I don't think they got the video. Yeah. Yeah, y'all got the video? You got it? What you got? Yeah. Yeah, let's get the video. We're going to show you a foolish Negro, how we do. Go ahead and roll the video.
When I was about 9 years old, we moved to Charles County here in Marlboro. My family.
Arkansas Mo might have been beating Carly red ass, but them niggas finna get him. In his ass when he go down to prison. This Negro done defrauded the government out of over $2 million in COVID-19 business relief funds and Tootsie rolling all over Atlanta, leasing Rolls Royces and buying Rolexes and $85,000 worth of jewelry and shit. That's a girl. Is you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it? Let's talk.
All right, this dude is frying us right now.
Yeah. He from Atlanta. That's why
he's feminine with a full beard. Dang.
Yeah. But anyway, you see the brother, he got locked up. He's a reality TV star, right? And he got $2 million or something like that for the loan that he just had come out. He bought Rolls Royces,
Rolex,
and
paid $84,000 in child support or something like that.
Yeah, because the loan was meant. It was a business relief,
right?
That was supposed to pay his employees and pays for his business rents, his office rent. That was the relief money that was for. He paid himself.
Yeah, so this is the scripture that he wanted. Get that Sirach 14 and 3.
The book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 3. Riches are not comely for a niggard, and what should an envious man do with money?
There you go. This brother out there got the COVID money. He out there buying Rolls Royces and all that other stuff. That's what they're telling you. Money ain't good for niggas. That's the bottom line. But that nigga is talking about a selfish man, but we just going to update that.
Yeah. He brought a watch.
Right.
He brought a Rolex.
Rolls Royces.
Yeah, go ahead, officer. You got it.
Hey, let's get 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10. Let's see how, because that's why we were reading earlier about the foolish and the wise. The wise Israelite will understand that he must provide for his house, that he has to work. He cannot be a sluggard, but the fool will do the opposite of that. So let's get this. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10.
The book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
So even when the apostles was with, they commanded the Israelites, if any man, this says, if any man not work, he shall not eat. Read on.
For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly.
See that thing? Disorderly, meaning against the order, the established order of the doctrine.
You mean it was lazy brothers back then that wasn't working?
Hey,
okay.
Nothing new underneath the sun. Israel been doing it for centuries. Hey, when you read about when we came out of Exodus, Israel complaining and murmuring against the leaders, that's nothing new. That happens today too in the schools. Bruh. Read on.
Working not at all, but are busybodies.
Busybodies. Gossiping. They said, we ain't working, but we going to sit here on this couch and talk about what's going on with her. Oh, you see what Miss Ann did? Oh, the leadership. Oh, they evil. Their leaders, they evil. Oh, man.
Don't say nothing about Miss Johnson.
Don't. Hey, I heard that's what they spend their time doing. They ain't doing no work. They spend their time gossiping. Let's get Sirach 40. Sirach 40 and 28.
The book of Sirach, chapter 40 and verse 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life.
See that thing? It says, lead not a beggar's life. So the laws of the Most High don't want Israelite brothers and sisters leaving beggars' lives. That's not how we're supposed to do it.
So you mean he wants us to come off welfare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We understand that brothers and sisters might have to get on it because of their circumstances, but it's not a long-term thing for the rest of your life. You want to work to get off of it. Read.
My son, lead not a beggar's life, for better is it to die than to beg.
Do you see that thing? Most of us saying it's better for you to die than to be begging your entire life. Begging. Read. Matter of fact, that goes into, well, actually, that's not even a sluggard, because them beggars, they putting in work to beg. A slugger ain't doing that.
Be at every 7-Eleven.
Hey, let's get that. Is that it on that?
No, there's more.
All right, keep
the
on.
life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life.
You see that thing? It said that's not living. You depending on others to survive. That's not living. Yeah, like the brother in his grandmother's house. And he looked like he was he looked like he was in his 20s. Yeah, he was early 30s. Oh, yeah, maybe 30s. You know, there's some sad cases like that here.
That brother trying to inherit the house. Talking about his inheritance.
Oh, man. Read. Is that it on that? Read.
For he polluteth himself with other men's meat, but a wise man well-nurtured will beware thereof. Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless, but in his belly there shall burn a fire.
You see that thing? It's sweet in the belly of the shameless. Those that are shameless, they don't care. They have no shame at all. Begging, oh, you gonna give me some money? All I gotta do is ask. Or I gotta hold up a sign. It's sweet for them. All right, let's look at the next verse. Sirach 29, 21 through 22. We gotta fly through this.
The book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 21. The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame.
See that thing? The Most High has outlined what the chief things in life are. Because really, you know how we read earlier how the knowledge of this world is foolish to the Most High. Because when you think about it, science, politics, all of these many things that are set up in society is foolishness according to the big plan of the Most High. The big plan of the Most High is for the Israelites to go through the curses, get themselves right, keep his laws, so he can bring forth the kingdom. That's the big plan. All of these different sidetrack things of politics, Democrats, Republicans, all that stuff is foolishness to him. All of that's foolishness because it's not going according to his plan. Is that it?
Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house.
You see that thing? Because when you in another man's house, he might have a bad house, big mansion-style house, but you in his house, you can barely do anything. Yeah, grandma can slam. Hey, bro, that look like Royal Rumble. She was slamming the trash can on her. Bing! Hey, let's get that. Is that it on that? Hey, let's play this video. Y'all got the video queued up? It's my roommate. Play this thing. This is an example of that scripture.
What's up, man?
What's up? What you doing?
Going to the kitchen.
For what? You want some water or something?
Nah, man, I'm about to heat my food up.
What food?
The leftovers from Cheesecake Factory. Remember Tamika had a dinner last night? You was invited?
Oh, I couldn't make it because I was working.
Right. Well, man, I ain't paid for my food. Cedric got me. You know what I'm saying? So I got some shrimp pasta. It was a lot. So I cut it in half and made 2 meals out of it. I'm about to heat that up now.
Ain't no more shrimp pasta.
What you mean?
I knocked that back this morning.
Damn! You ate my leftovers, man?
What I did was eat whatever was in my refrigerator. So whatever you left in my fridge was left over for me.
Ronaldo, you eating my grapes, homie. You already had a bag of grapes in the fridge. I saw that. So I wouldn't mess with yours. I went and got my own bag. I put my name on my bag so we wouldn't get it mixed up.
Your name don't mean shit in this house.
So you ate my leftovers. You eat my grapes. What am I supposed to eat now, bro?
There's a couple noodle in the cabinet, Maruchan. Hop on that. So you ain't got no reason to go in my fridge.
So I'm supposed to just starve?
Make you a peanut butter sandwich or something. But don't let me catch you in the refrigerator.
I gotta eat some damn Maruchan cup of noodles, bro?
And I gotta pay the damn rent. Who got the bigger burden? What you fail to realize? You indebted to me, nigga. You paid me a little bit of bread the other day out of 8 months of nothing. And you think you can put your name on shit now? Anything else I see with your name on it, I'm taking. I'll sleep in your damn bed if I want to. Might fuck around and rent your room out. How that sound? Don't let me catch you in my fridge again, nigga.
Shit.
Move.
All right, that's it on that. That's it on that. That's it on that. Hey, read that again. Read it again.
Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house.
You see that? You're in another man's house. You don't have all the freedoms you would have in your own.
He said he knocked that delicate fare back and then in the morning.
Verse 24. For it is a miserable life to go from house to house.
You see that thing? It's a miserable life to go from house to house. You don't have a foundation. You don't have a place to live.
For where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth.
You see that? That was an example of that.
Thou shalt entertain and feast, and have no thanks. Moreover, thou shalt hear bitter words.
Because they're going to be talking about how you don't do nothing. You just mooching on people.
Come, thou stranger, and furnish a table, and feed me of that thou hast ready.
Mm-hmm. Now let's go to let's get this 1 Timothy's. 1 Timothy's 5 and 8. 1 Timothy's 5 and 8.
1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 8. Mm-hmm. But if any provide not for his own.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't even provide for your own house, your own children, read on.
And especially for those of his own house.
See that? Especially for his own house.
He hath denied the faith.
Mm-hmm.
And is worse than an infidel.
And is worse than a non-believer. You see that thing? The Most High saying, look, if you don't provide for your own, you are worse than a non-believer. So brothers, if you brothers out there, you don't provide for your houses, that's in the truth. You got to get it right. Get it right. Get it right. The Most High sees you as an infidel right now. Let's fix that thing.
And that's not talking about if you lost a job and you don't have no. That's talking about the brother that's laid up in the bed.
Scratching. Yep. Let's get Sirach 25 and 22.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 22. Mm-hmm. A woman, if she maintain her husband,
here you go,
is full of anger.
She's angry. Mm-hmm. You see the key word in that, if she maintains her husband, meaning she was playing the role of the brother that was eating the grapes.
Yeah.
Or like the grandmother, for example. I'm tired, my back hurting, my feet hurting. I can't take this no more. Read on.
Is full of anger. impudence, and much reproach.
Much reproach. She's disrespectful. She's angry. You can't even walk in and say hi, and she's cussing you out. I'm telling you.
Nah, you ain't walking in saying hi. You in the house. She coming in the house and you saying hi. You been there all day, laid up in the bed.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Tweeting all day. Posing. Man, you see my bands?
You social media expert.
Hey, babe, how was work?
Yeah, how was work? Ain't even applying for no jobs or nothing. All right, let's look at the next verse. Titus 2. Titus 2, verse 1 and 2.
The book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 2. 2 and verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged man be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience. The aged woman likewise.
No, that's
the point is we want to deal with the men.
Right.
Characteristics that the men should have on them. Jump
Verse
to
6.
verse 6.
Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded.
Exhort to be sober-minded. Is that it?
In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works.
Good works.
They say a pattern don't mean have a job for 3-4 months and then you laid up in the bed till 2:30 in the afternoon. That's not what that's talking about.
Yep. Now let's get 1 Kings. 1 Kings 2. 1 Kings 2, let's start at verse 2. Down to 3. Let's fly through this. We run out of time.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 2 and 2. I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man.
Show thyself a man. Now, how you going to show yourself a man? Read.
And keep the charge of the Lord thy God.
Keeping the charge of the Lord. What? Them laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how you showing yourself a man. Read.
To walk in his ways. To keep his statutes.
To keep his statutes.
And his commandments.
His commandments. So some of the things that we read over are commandments of the Israelites. How the Israelites must conduct themselves. Remember, the other nations saw us. When they saw us when we was in order, we kept the laws of the Most High God, and that was our wisdom. And they said, this is a wise people because they saw how we acted, how we conducted ourselves, how we governed ourselves. They marveled at us. Read.
And his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest.
See that thing? So by keeping the law, statutes, commandments, that's how we prosper.
It said that's how you show yourself a man, too. So you got to think about it, because in Christianity, they teach you ain't got to keep the law. So what are they saying by default? They saying they not real men.
They're not being a men, because think about where the doctrine came from. What did the white man call us in times past? He called us boys. That's letting you know what it is. They teach you don't got to keep the commandments. They already telling you a boy. That's we don't understand the psychology of that thing.
Now let's get 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
That's it on that. Now let's jump to Proverbs 12.
Meaning what? You got to get up and get a job. You can't be laid up on there on Facebook playing games. What else, brothers? Smoking weed, whatever else, just foolish things. We got to put them things away.
And you know what? And what I noticed is in some of these cities, like in D.C., for example, they made marijuana legal. So that's a trap. That's a trap for our brothers and sisters because they smoking it out in the open now. It's legal. It's legal. But guess what? When you go for a job, they do a drug test.
Right, because the trap is if you get hurt on the job and you got marijuana in your system, that's going to jack up their insurance premium. And make them, high-risk employers.
And, I just want to say we got a scoffer here talking about we telling half-truths. Of course, it's one of our own brothers saying, what is he saying? Half-truths are the same as lies, you so-called Israelites. Now, this Negro more than likely is an Israelite, but he's the Willie Lynch Negro that we bringing out right here on on the book. He don't realize his heritage. He hadn't done any research.
No, what he don't realize how spiritual it is, because we talking about how to make a slave. One of the attributes of the slave is speaking against their own people when they trying to liberate them. The Lord had to make manifest the Willie Lynch letter, a Willie Lynch manufacturer today. So that's that coon on there talking.
A prime example how we will go against our own people.
I guarantee you, he won't get on Joel Osteen and say nothing about that.
You don't say nothing to the white man. Believe that.
Go. Any of these prosperity preachers, ain't nothing to be said to that. But yet we up here trying to return the so-called black man and black woman to their true nature. Turn things back to what we were before slavery.
That's one of them Negroes you read about in Exodus that was crying to go back to Egypt, even after it was destroyed. Mm-hmm. That's what the byproduct of slavery is. He wants to stay here, even when the nukes hit.
Hey, Nuke gonna have his name on that thing. Let's continue. Let's get Proverbs.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 8. A man shall be commended according to his wisdom.
So it says, a man shall be commended or praised according to his wisdom. So if your wisdom is, because we know, we've seen this all the time. We all know one of the brothers that'll be at work. All he talks about all day is football. Like, bruh, it'll blow your mind. 24/7, he's talking about the game. He's talking about players. He's talking about drafts. Or you got brothers that talk about soccer all day, name the names, who's getting drafted, what game. Oh, it's sickening. That's the wisdom of this world and its foolishness. But it says, a man shall be commended according to his wisdom, the wisdom of the Most High God. Because according to the law, if your brother's committing sin, you rebuke him. That shows love to your brother so he can get himself or herself right so they can get the kingdom. Read.
But he that is of a perverse heart shall be despised.
You see that thing? A perverse heart shall be despised. Because we all know, even some of our coworkers will be in the work, and this will be our people. They are just all the time talking about sex, 24/7. Hey, you see that girl? Oh man, you see her?
Looking at every hind post that walk by all day, and getting paid to do that, stealing money.
Old freaks. Oh man, hey, let's get the next verse. First Timothy.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 3 and verse 1.
I want to get this video, so come on.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth the good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife.
So hold on. So right now, remember, the scriptures are instructions for righteousness. So these are some instructions. He must be a husband of what? One wife, right?
One wife.
One wife. So that means we must get ourselves in order according to what's written. Read.
Vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach,
ready to teach,
not given to wine,
not being a drunkard,
no striker,
not fighting,
not greedy of filthy lucre,
not means you're covetous of money,
but patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house.
Your house got to be in order.
Having his children in subjection with all gravity.
See, so that means the scriptures are giving us example of how we must conduct ourselves and our house. Meaning you can't have no bad kids running around here tearing up everything, but yet you the don leader of the church. Baby's kids. Let's play this video. Let's play the video. You got the video? Put it up.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. Whose symbol is the eagle? Pull out a dollar bill. The white man's symbol is the eagle. And though thou set thy nest among the stars. Who's doing space travel? Who's going to the stars? The so-called white man. When they put the black woman in the rocket ship, what happened? Anybody remember what happened? It got blown to hell. Right. You black women and black men trying to assimilate in society, you're going to get destroyed. We were brought as slaves to America to learn our lesson. To learn our lessons to stop breaking God's commandments. We are the Israelites the Bible speaks of. You're living in the greatest time on earth. during the time of Moses, because Christ is going to make the Exodus this time.
Right.
Christ is going to return and deliver you. But you must get your minds right. You Puerto Ricans the same way. You Latinos, you're...
Yeah, that's an example of a bishop going in back in the day.
And he's an able-bodied man according to the scriptures. You look at his wife, his children, all in order.
And that's showing you something right there, because that's when he first started. Now, you look at the organization now, and that was just him, one other brother, and a cameraman out there, and built this organization. All praises to the Most High.
Now, let's get Ecclesiastes. Let's close with Ecclesiastes 12, 13, and 14.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
So here you go. The meaning of life. Here you go.
Fear God.
Fear the Most High God.
And keep his commandments.
And keep the commandments. That's the whole purpose of your life.
That's it.
That's the whole purpose of why you are here breathing and living, is to fear the Most High God and keep his commandments. That's why the Most High gave you a choice. Two choices, life or death. You're going to be obedient or you're going to be disobedient. It's your choice. You got to work out your own soul salvation.
For
finish it up. Finish it up.
For this is the whole duty of man.
There you go. There you go.
For
the
God,
next verse.
For God shall bring every work into judgment.
Everything you're doing. So if you want to be a scoffer, the scriptures say, go ahead and scoff.
That's how we know it's a real book, because in the last day there shall be scoffers. You've never seen a Negro jump up in the Seventh-day Adventist church and scoff against Helen G. White or John Smith. You've never seen a Negro do that, but yet niggas be jumping out there.
But that's that self-hate. That's what it is. Negroes hate themselves. That's what Willie Lynch created, and that's a perfect example on the chat. The Negro that hates himself.
Yep.
For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
See that thing? The Most High is going to judge all things, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
With that, fam, we say shalom.
We say shalom, fam.
Shalom. Most High Christ bless.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.